This will actually be a continuation of a teaching I did last Friday during the Unity Conference. So turn to 1 John chapter 1, and verse 3 reads, "That which we have seen and heard declare we unto you, that you also may have fellowship with us. And truly, our fellowship is with the Father," that's Yahweh, "and with His Son, Yeshua the Messiah." So we're to have fellowship with both of them, right? How do we have fellowship with them? Think about this. How do we have fellowship with them? Turn to Romans chapter 10. I'm going to reiterate something here I taught last week. And Romans chapter 10 is on page, we're going to go to page 1138, 1138. Chapter 10 verse 9 reads, y'all see verse 9 says, "That thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Master Yeshua, and shalt believe in thine heart that Elohim hath raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved." The word confess there means something you say and mean. It's something you testify to, something you bear witness to, something you agree along with. That's what that confess is. Okay? We confess, we say it, mean, and agree with it that Yeshua is our master. For Him being our master, can anybody here tell me what a master is? What that word master means? Anybody? Word master means He's sovereign. Sovereign, it's another word that some of you may not know. It means the one who's in charge, who has supreme authority over something.
I was going to say like a master that leads an army.
Right, like a master that leads an army.
Like King Saul.
Yeah, like King Saul.
Defeating Goliath.
My uncle Dan, he sends me cards and stuff, and he says master actually means, what does that mean?
That means you're a minor. That means you're not 18 yet.
Nice.
It's the same thing as saying Mr. or Sir, but instead of saying Mr., they'd say Master because you're under 18. So if we confess, we say it, mean it. That Yeshua is sovereign, our master, the one who has supreme authority over us, the one we follow and obey. Then we are saved and believe that Yahweh raised Him from the dead. So who here has Yeshua as their master? Let's see, show of hands. Who has Yeshua as their master?
Everyone should raise their hand because He's all of our masters.
Yeah. But it's your willful decision to make Him your master. Okay? You have to decide to do that. It's not just going to automatically happen. Who here believes that Yahweh raised Yeshua from the dead? Okay? And we can know this within us, by the way. Look at John. Good news of John, chapter 14. We'll go there. It's on page 1076, 1076. In John chapter 14 here, verse 15 reads, "If you love me, keep my commandments." This is Yeshua speaking. So when we love Yeshua, what are we going to do?
Keep His commandments.
Exactly, Eli. "And I will pray the Father, and He shall give you another comforter, that He may abide with you forever. Even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it seeth Him not, neither knoweth Him. But ye know Him, for He dwelleth with you, and shall be in you." So Yeshua is saying that this is someone that they know, and is with them, and shall be in them. Now look what verse 18 says. "I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you." So who is Yeshua referring to here? When it says, "I will not leave you comfortless, I will come to you," in verse 18. Who is Yeshua referring to when He says, "I will not leave you comfortless, I will come to you"? Think about this.
He's coming to us.
But who?
Yeshua.
Exactly, Yeshua.
Yes, I did it. But when I said us, it gave me a clue that it was Yeshua. When you said but who's coming to us?
Yeah, so Yeshua said that he's going to send the Comforter. He says, I will not leave you comfortless, I will come to you. Yet a little while, and the world seeth me no more. But ye see me, because I live, ye shall live also. Because Yeshua is going to be raised from the dead at this point, which it already happened. But he's saying that because he lives, in his resurrection, we'll live also. At that day ye shall know that I am in my Father, and you in me, and I in you. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. And he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father. And I will love him, and will manifest myself to him. So he's talking about us being in him in us. But also, this word manifest here, literally from the Greek, that means to shine within. That he'll shine within us. That he'll make himself known to us.
When you say he's in the Father and we're in him, I heard a video in real life, Jesus saying, I am in the Father and the Father is in me. Right.
That's good, Eli. That's exactly the point that I'm making here. Verse 23, Yeshua answered and said unto him, if a man love me, he'll keep my words, and my Father will love him. And we is plural, it's talking about Yahweh and Yeshua, we will come unto him and make our abode, our home within him, that they'll dwell with us. That means they'll live within us. I want to show you something here in chapter 15. Do you want to read that first verse, Eli?
Yes. I am the truth, vine, and true vine, and my Father is husbandman.
Husbandman? Cool, very good. Yeah, I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. The husbandman that's a reference to the farmer, the one who takes care of the crops, or the one who takes care of in some cases, of the animals, or the vineyard, for example. So he's saying his Father is the one who takes care of the vineyard. He's the husbandman. Yeshua is referring to himself as the true vine. Okay? Verse 2 says, every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. And every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you. Here he's telling us to abide in him, live in him. So are we to live in Yeshua? Yeah, we're to live in Yeshua, right? And he lives in us. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine, no more can you, except you abide in me. If a vine breaks off, well, let's say a branch breaks off from a tree, that branch dies, doesn't it? That's why we need to stay connected to Yeshua, right? Verse 5, I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, he that liveth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me, you can do nothing. If a man abide in me, not in me, if a man does not live in me, he is cast forth as a branch, and is withered. And men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. So if somebody chooses not to live in Yeshua, that's what happens to them.
They'll become like a real tree.
Well, no, what'll happen is, this is an analogy. It's a metaphor where he's using the symbolism of a tree with branches to represent him and us. Do you understand that? So he's using these symbols to describe what he's talking about. And so he's referring to us as being branches, and he's the vine. He's like the tree trunk. So if that branch doesn't bear fruit, it gets cut off. Kind of in the same way you'd prune maybe a grapevine, or you'd prune a tree so that it brings forth more fruit. You take off the stuff that's not bringing forth fruit. You take off the dead stuff and get rid of it. So the nourishment goes to the rest of the tree, right? So this is the same analogy here. Verse 7, if ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, you shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. Herein is my Father esteemed, that ye bear much fruit. So shall you be my disciples. Mark explains something with verse 7. She was talking about abiding in him, and his words abiding in us, living in us. When that's the situation, we're going to be asking for things that are within Yahweh's will. This doesn't say if you are abiding in your flesh, if you're walking after the lust of your flesh, you'll get what you pray for. It's not saying that. This isn't a blank check for anything we want. This is when we're living in him and his words are living in us. Then we're not going to be asking according to the desires of our flesh, which may not be in alignment with Yahweh and his word. Right? Do you all understand that? Verse 9, as the Father hath loved me, so have I loved you. Continue you in my love. If you keep my commandments, you shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. So think about this for a minute. Do you want Yeshua's joy in us? In yourself? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want that joy, right? Of knowing the presence of Yeshua in you. Letting his light shine within you. Isn't that awesome? So he was telling them that he was going to go away. He was telling his apostles, his disciples, that he was going to go away. And they were sorrowing over this. Look at chapter 16, verse 6. But because I have said these things unto you, sorrow hath filled your heart. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth. It is expedient for you that I go away. For if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. But if I depart, I will send him unto you. So, he's saying if he doesn't go away, the Comforter won't come unto us, right? But who is the Comforter?
Yeshua.
Exactly, Yeshua. Do you know why he's the Comforter?
No.
Okay. You hold your finger here in John. And you don't have to turn, I'll just read this to you. 1 Peter chapter 3. So 1 Peter 3:18 reads, For the Messiah also hath once suffered for sins, the just for the unjust, that he might bring us to Elohim, being put to death in the flesh, but quickened by the Spirit. That word quickened means made alive. It's in the Spirit it's by the Spirit that he was made alive. When his body was raised from the dead, he ascended into heaven. And watch what happens here. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 reads, verse 45, 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 45 says, And so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. The last Adam is referring to Yeshua. He was made a quickening spirit, a life-giving spirit. So y'all see that? So, it was a spirit that made Yeshua alive, and he was made a life-giving spirit. So he has a physical body. His physical body is raised from the dead, but now it's spirit within him. We see this in Peter's sermon in Acts chapter 2. I shared some of this stuff last week. I was going back over a few points here. Verse 32, Acts chapter 2, verse 32 says, This Yeshua hath Elohim raised up, whereof we all are witnesses. Therefore, being by the right hand of Elohim exalted, and having received of the Father the promise of the Holy Spirit, he has shed forth this, which you now see and hear. So he received the Spirit from the Father, and he shed it forth. He gives it forth, right? So we receive it from Yahweh through his Son, Yeshua. Yahweh gave it to Yeshua, and Yeshua gives it to us. And that's how we get born of the Spirit. That's how we get sealed with the Spirit. And it's through Yeshua that we receive the Spirit. Do you understand that? Okay, it's through Yeshua that we receive the Spirit, and that's how we're made alive through him. That's why it says here in John chapter 16, verse 7, Nevertheless, I tell you the truth. It is expedient for you that I go away. For if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. But if I depart, I will send him unto you. Skip down to verse 13. It reads, But when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth. For he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak, and he will show you things to come. He shall esteem me, for he shall receive of mine, and shall show it unto you. All things that the Father hath are mine, therefore said I, that he shall take of mine, and shall show it unto you. A little while, and ye shall not see me, and again a little while, and ye shall see me, because I go to the Father. Again, he's referring to himself. In that gift of the Holy Spirit that we're born with, we have Yahweh in Yeshua in us. They're present in us and with us. So skip to chapter 17 here. These words spoke Yeshua and lifted up his eyes to heaven. Verse 1 is where I'm at. And said, Father, the hour is come. Esteem thy Son, that thy Son also may esteem thee. As thou hast given him power over all flesh, that he should give eternal life to as many as thou hast given him. So you see here, whoever the Father gives Yeshua, Yeshua gives eternal life to.
Like we will be created like him.
Yeah, we'll be just like him. When he returns, we'll be made just like him. And we'll live forever with him. Ain't that awesome?
Yeah, and we won't die again. And we can go through walls.
Very good. That's very good, Eli. And we can go through walls. Just like he did, huh? Yeshua, when he was resurrected, after he was resurrected, he appeared to the disciples right in the room with the door being shut. That's what you're referring to, isn't it, Eli?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So, verse 2 here reads, As thou hast given him power over all flesh, that he should give eternal life to as many as thou hast given him. And this is like eternal, that they might know thee, the only true Elohim, and Yeshua the Messiah, whom thou hast sent. I have esteemed thee on the earth. I have finished the work which thou gavest me to do. And now, O Father, honor thou me with thine own self, with the majesty which I have had with thee before the world was. I have manifested my name unto the men which thou gavest me out of the world. Thine they were, and thou gavest them me, and they have kept thy word. And so Yeshua is praying here. Verse 14 reads, I have given them thy word, and the world hath hated them, because they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. I pray not that thou shouldst take them out of the world, but that thou shouldst keep them from the evil. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. As thou hast sent me into the world, even so have I also sent them into the world. So where are we sent to? Can anybody tell me where we're sent?
To the world.
That's right, to the world. Do you have something you want to add?
To the world and God.
Yeah, we're sent to the world, right? Cool. So, Yeshua is saying that we're sent to the world, but what are we sent to the world to do?
Come to Yahshua.
Well, this is after we come to Yahshua.
To come to love.
Well, we're to come to the world. We're sent to the world to reach people with Yahweh's word, so that they come to know Yeshua. Verse 19 says, "And for their sakes I sanctify myself. I set myself apart, that they also might be sanctified," or set apart through the truth. "Neither pray I for these alone, but for them also which shall believe on me through their word." That there includes us that believe through their word, right? Because that's learning Yahweh's word that was given to us, starting back with them, is how we know about Yeshua. Verse 20, "Neither pray I for these alone, but them also believe through their word, that they all may be one, as thou, Father, art in me, and I in thee. They also may be one in us, that the world may believe that thou hast sent me. And the honor which thou gavest me I have given them, that they may be one, even as we are one. I in them, and thou in me, that they may be made perfect in one." So y'all see that there? I in them and thou in me. Okay, so you see that? I in them and thou in me. Right here. I in them and thou in me. So we have Yahweh and Yeshua in us. You see, this is how we have fellowship with them. We let Yeshua manifest himself to us. We abide in him. We abide in him as the trunk, as that branch. And we're branches attached to him, right? So we live in him. That's a choice we make. That we're going to live by obeying Yahweh's word, walking in love, and having Yeshua as our master over us. That we choose, we willfully choose, that we're going to live for Yeshua. Do you understand that? So that's a day-by-day choice that we need to make, to continue to walk in him. Doesn't mean we're going to be perfect at doing this. Sometimes we'll be distracted, sometimes we'll get tripped up. There's stuff in the world that wants our attention. And that doesn't mean we don't do anything in the world, but it means that Yahweh and Yeshua are first. That in our thinking, in our thoughts, in our decisions, that they're first. Okay? Look at Colossians. Tell you what page it's on here in a second. Colossians chapter 2, it's page 1190. Eshel, would you like to read me verses 4, 5, and 6?
Chapter what?
2.
Alright. And this I say, lest any man should beguile you with enticing words. For though I be absent in the flesh, yet am I with you in the spirit, joying in beholding your order, and the steadfastness of your faith in the Messiah. As ye have therefore received the Messiah, Yeshua the Master, so walk ye in him.
Thank you, Eshel. So, as ye have therefore received the Messiah, Yeshua the Master, so walk you in him. Here again, we're to walk in the Messiah, right? Mm-hmm. And we're to be steadfast in the faith. That means that we're not going to be moved or pushed away or drawn away. Verse 7 says, "Rooted and built up in him, and established in the faith as ye have been taught, abounding therein with thanksgiving." When we're rooted in the Messiah, think of a tree for a moment, having roots going into the ground. Here's another picture that we're given, another example. Those roots go into the ground and hold the tree in place, right? So it doesn't tip over. Those roots are also the means by which the tree gets its nourishment. So we get our nourishment from Yeshua. We're unmovable because we're rooted in Yeshua, right? Verse 8 reads, "Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after the Messiah. For in him dwelleth all the fullness of the Supreme Being bodily. And you are complete in him, which is the head of all principality and power. So Yeshua is the head over everything. Yahweh is supreme over Yeshua. Yeshua's master. And Yeshua is our master. But Yeshua's head over... Yahweh placed Yeshua as being above everything else. Do you all see that? So Yahweh is sovereign over Yeshua, and Yeshua is sovereign over us. But it also says here that we're complete in him. We are complete in Yeshua. Think about that. Do you know what this means? Think of the depth of this. We all have had some type of trouble in life. We've all had certain problems, certain pains, things that we've gone through and experienced. And I cannot say I truly understand anything that any of you have gone through, because I didn't go through what you went through. I mean, Eli, I'm sure that you've experienced things in life that always haven't been good, right? And I know all of us probably have. None of you can know exactly what I've gone through. There's those pains, those things in the past.
I remember you saying you worked somewhere and it was real cold, and I think you smashed one of your fingers and you couldn't move it.
Right, and then
I know about that pain.
Yeah,
and I don't know the details how it happened.
Right, and you know what? When I got to the point where I trusted Yahweh, I prayed for it, and it was instantly healed. Isn't that cool? That was the rest of the story. So, we've all had our experiences in life. We've all had, many of us may have experienced some form of trauma, some form of pain, emotional or physical. But who are we complete in? Are we complete in the worldly things of the flesh, or are we complete in Yeshua? We are complete in Yeshua, which is the head of all principality and power. When these things come to us in life, who do we go to? We go to Yeshua. We lay these things at Yeshua's feet, these troubles of the mind, these troubles of the past. And we move forward, putting the past behind us. And I know it's not always easy. It's easy to say we put the past behind us, but there are those reminders that come along, right? As those things come along, and even if you haven't experienced a lot of stuff yet, if you live long enough, you will. Trust me. So if you're younger, pay attention, because you might need to understand this at some point. When these things come along in life, these pains, these troubles, these things that distress us, we go before Yeshua and we lay those things at his throne. Remember that we're complete in him. We're not complete in everything else that's going on in the world. We're complete in him. So we lay that stuff at his throne. I know I've had to do that many, many times in life with the pains and things I've experienced. And like I said, I haven't experienced what any one of you have experienced. None of you have experienced what I've experienced, or whatever each other has experienced. We each have our own experiences in life. We each have our own trouble. We each have our own traumas. But this is how we handle them. We take them to the throne. We trust Yahweh and Yeshua. We look to the fact that that we have Yahweh and Yeshua in us. Recognize their presence in us and with us all the time in every situation. I know those emotions sometimes can get in the way. That's why we control our thinking. We lay those stuff at Yeshua's feet. So this is what we do. Go ahead and turn back to John chapter 14. It's on page 1076, where we're going. Now we sang this song earlier. We have an anchor. And this song fits perfectly with this part of the teaching. So I'm going to share with you the first part of the song here. It says, "We are anchor hold in the storms of life." Because we all have storms in our lives. "When the clouds unfold their wings of strife, when the strong tides lift and the cables strain, will your anchor drift or firm remain?" So you're going to stay rooted in the Messiah, going to abide in Him, or you're going to allow yourself to be drawn away?
No.
You're going to abide in Him, right?
Yes.
We have an anchor that keeps the soul steadfast and sure while the billows roll. Fastened to the rock which cannot move, grounded firm and deep in the Savior's love. That rock which cannot move, that's Yeshua. And we're grounded in His love. And I thought, well, when we were singing this song, and I thought, man, that fits perfect with the teaching. Last part of it. Look at John chapter 14, verse 27. It says, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid." So we want to abide in Him. We want to walk according to the Word. Just as He walked according to the Word. He was our example of keeping the commandments, of doing Yahweh's will. That's what we want to do. When troubles in life come, when people disappoint us, when problems arise in the world, we don't allow our minds to get overwhelmed by that stuff. We don't allow ourselves to be carried away with that stuff. We allow His peace to rule in our hearts, remaining in Him. And we bring these things to His throne. Do you see that? That's how we handle this stuff. And some situations can be quite traumatizing. And there's physical trauma, there's emotional trauma, there's psychological trauma. And sometimes when one happens, people have experienced all three to some degree. And so that's how we handle it. But, John 15:5 says, "I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me you can do nothing." So that's what we want to do. We want to have that fellowship with Yahweh and His Son Yeshua all the time. Recognizing the presence in us and with us. Okay? So, does that make the point? Do you all understand this? Okay, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted to show you.